Hello and welcome to Behind the Badge. I'm Chief Dunn. In today's show I have a couple of guests with us because we're going to be talking about a very important subject that is very relevant to this community as well as to communities across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and across the country, and that is opioid-related overdoses. And today with us we have Sergeant Michael Semino from the Falmouth Police Department. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
And Lenny Cardoza, who is a counselor at Gosnell Treatment. Recovery Manager. Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
The opioid crisis that has been going on started here in Falmouth. We started to see a little bit of it here in Falmouth in late 2012 and 2013. And at that time, I think our numbers were down in the low 20s. As of this past year, our numbers soared to 156 overdoses. And what happened was, I started getting some phone calls and emails from the community itself, pretty much stating, what is the police department doing about this? And I kind of came out publicly and said it, that it wasn't just a police issue, it was a community issue. Because we at the police department couldn't solve this alone, number one. And number two, by the time we deal with the situation, we get the phone call of the overdose. So how are we going to fix that? So one of the things that I want to share with the community and the public as a whole is that we did start a program several years ago. And that program was partnering with Gosnell and a police officer to go out into the community and do follow-ups. So if Michael, you could maybe share a little bit about how the program works and things like that.
Yeah, it's been just over 2 years we've been doing it, and I'd like to say we weren't going strong, but unfortunately we're going strong. There's people that visit every week, and it's not sure where the the end game is. I don't see an end game right now to it. And we're seeing repeat overdoses, same person overdosing. We are trying to get them extra help if they do overdose. I mean, I know we've just started recently where if they overdose twice in 6 months, we're going to file a Section 35 at the courthouse and actually commit them ourselves, and rather than usually it's a family member or someone else that does it. But if family or friends aren't stepping up, we step in and... I want to talk just in case for the general community that's not really sure what a Section 35 is. And again, family members can do it, and we have asked family members to do that in the past. It's where they go to court and get a court committal for the individual. And it's not a criminal piece. It's to get them help, get them committed to a hospital or a treatment facility that they can get some help. So you're right. We've started doing that. And it's very hard for us to see somebody that's had repeat overdoses and there's no one stepping up in their lives to help them. So I don't want to carry it on my conscience. I know no one does. Hey, we could have helped this guy or girl and we didn't. So I think it's very beneficial. And a lot of times, the person's not going to like it because a lot of times they're not ready for treatment when we do that. But we're hoping while they're there, maybe they get some service and some help and maybe have time to detox and get their brain right a little bit. But for right now, like I said, it's full steam ahead, and I wish it wasn't.
Can you talk about the partnership that we have here with Gosnell?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I worked with two other gentlemen previous to Lenny. It's been awesome. What we do, after so many overdoses, we go out, just knock on the door. I usually am the first one to talk. I introduce myself, introduce Lenny, tell him why we're there, and then I kind of give the show over to Lenny and let him know that, hey, listen, this guy can help you.
And we're not there in a law enforcement capacity, but we're there just to assist and work with.
And Lenny will let them know what services he can offer them, and whether it's that day, whether it's down the road. A lot of people aren't ready that day. They've said, hey, thank you for coming. We've never been turned away. Always been treated great. We've been invited to people's houses, sit down with them, talk to them. And kind of once Lenny gives them, his advice, they kind of mull it over. They either take it or they don't. But we've got people in the same day, the next day. People have called. He checks in with people if they're not ready yet. He'll be a kind of a pain in the like a pit bull and track them down. He does, and he keeps on these people, and he keeps calling them and doesn't let them forget. And he's actually had a lot of success in getting people in after the overdose.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Lenny, if you could just tell us a little bit, how that all came about, and you're a recovery coach.
Recovery manager.
Recovery manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I work with the police station. We go out to the community, and we try to get them in. I mean, basically, once Mike introduces me, I'll sit down, I'll gather some information from them, find out what capacity they're at, where I can offer them as far as if they do need an inpatient, outpatient. Sometimes it's a meeting list. Sometimes it's just an ear for them to talk to and figure it out. I find it when we do knock, they see a friendly face, they're more likely to open the door for us. You know what I mean? And we don't force treatment on nobody. You know what I mean? I kind of talk to them, and if I feel like they really do need the treatment, me being in recovery, I come at them at that kind of an angle, and a lot of them will open up to me. They may talk to me on the side without a police officer, or with the police officer there. But I mean, for the most part, if I had that opportunity when I was active, I think I might have went to detox. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know there was a way out. Especially when the police came, I didn't know what that would bring. I didn't know there was resources, and if somebody could assist me in helping me get in, and I probably would have took it many years ago.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really why we developed this program, and as a team, as a collaborative partners here, because again, as I said, we as the police department can't do all this work alone. We need the help of the community, and to have Gosnell be partnered with us and all that is really awesome, to be able to get some help that way to people that need it. Yeah, it is concerning is that the numbers seem to be rising instead of going down, but as you both know, it's probably because we are a recovery community. We have a lot of people who come to our town for recovery and relapse, because it's not a one-time deal, correct?
They always say, relapse is part of addiction. It's not part of recovery.
Okay.
I mean, you can get into treatment and take the necessary steps and stay clean. The problem is a lot of the people that do go into detox, go for the spin dry. They're there 3 to 5 days and they need more treatment. If we get them in, and a lot of them are lost, and they go and they don't want to go to further treatment. So we need to, once we get them in, we need to guide them into the next step, which is long-term treatment. Some of them spin dry 3 to 5 days, and then they try to enter a sober house, having it backwards, thinking they can stay clean with no tools of recovery. Okay. So the problem is we have a lot of sober houses with a lot of young recovery. A lot of the addicts don't have that, the tools to stay clean. So when they get into these sober houses, they're raw.
Yeah, because you really do need that support system.
Yeah.
To stay clean. Yeah, that's it's really interesting. Can you talk about any of some success stories that might have come up without that come to mind?
Like I said, the very first time we went out, we actually, I think it was probably the fifth or sixth door we knocked on, and a young lady was under the influence and a little manic, and we ended up calming her down and offered her treatment, and she took it that day. We actually put her in the police cruiser, the unmarked police cruiser, and that we drive around in, and took her to treatment. And we've done that with a couple other gentlemen also. Unfortunately, I sometimes lose track of people after the fact, but I know there's definitely are people that I think Lenny's aware of that have stayed clean for periods of time. But I mean, in all reality, most do relapse again because they do not take the proper steps after Gosnell. There's a kind of a little schedule they need to keep afterwards, and a lot of them just kind of fall off until then they put themselves right back where they came from in the community, and they end up relapsing again. But there's definitely, I know Lenny, there's definitely people that he's been keeping track of, and that will check in with them once in a while.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about that schedule? I mean, how it kind of plays out a little bit, as far as the support and things like that. Like if you guys were to come to somebody's house today and they wanted to go to detox, what would the steps follow from there?
So what would we do? We'd go out to the community. We'd find the individual that had the previous overdose. We'd knock on the door, talk to the person. That person, we could offer them treatment that day. If they're willing to take those steps, I contact the detox, and We'll do an intake over the phone, get the logistics done, and hopefully we can get a bed that night. Usually, within a previous overdose, we'll get them in within a 24-hour period, because it's crucial that we get them into treatment, especially if they're reaching out to us and we're coming out and offer the services. We get them in right in, and they'll go into detox. Once they get in there, they'll be signed a counselor and a case manager who will work with them in their recovery as far as what steps need to be taken after that, whether it's long-term treatment, short-term, outpatient. It's going to be up to that individual and what resources we have after that to get them in there. Okay. But if they're reaching out, we're going to get them in, pretty much.
Great, great. And we talk about the numbers here in Falmouth. It's not just Falmouth. It's throughout the Commonwealth that this is a huge problem. And you also work with other police departments?
Yeah, right now I'm currently working with 14 towns on the Cape, and I work with 15 towns off Cape.
Wow. Through
Plymouth County Project Outreach. Okay. We're part of that program over there too. Okay. The overdoses are everywhere. It's pretty much, if we can catch them, I always say, like, have a target time within a 24-hour period, and we can get out there and offer some kind of help to these individuals. There's a high number, that they would take treatment. We have to catch them. That's the problem.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, this is, it really is a tragic event here. That, how some of these people have come to this, and to become dependent on the opioids over time, because it could have started with just a normal sports injury or something to that effect, right? And overprescribing, and I think they've kind of got that under control now. But it just seems like, already this year, Falmouth alone has had 36 overdoses. This past weekend, I'm aware there were 4. And like I said before, we can't arrest our way out of this. This is not, something that we can go out and arrest everybody with. And those who overdose, we're not looking to arrest them. However, in the police department, we're still out arresting the so-called dealers. And the heroin of today is different than the heroin of years ago, because it's mixed with fentanyl, and some of it's straight fentanyl, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah. From what I've talked to some of the addicts, a lot of them, some of them are trying to purchase just straight fentanyl. They're looking for a high that's 3 times worse than what it used to be. So most of the heroin around nowadays is cut with fentanyl. So it's like you said, it's a different ball game nowadays.
Right. Yeah, the strength is, like you say, 10 times or 20 times stronger than it used to be, and that's what's happening to people.
I think dealers compete to have the better product, and putting a little fentanyl in there is it's definitely a grabber. People are gonna search it out.
Yeah. Like I say, recently we've had some arrests, but again, I think the demand is so high. It's supply and demand. So if we lock somebody up, there's already somebody there to replace them to supply the demand out there. It just seems it's just a wheel that just keeps spinning. But I know in the police department we're doing our job. But this is really important that we have this commitment to go out and try to save lives as all we can, because everybody in the police department and all our cruisers are equipped with Narcan. And I think we were one of the first ones on the Cape to get Narcan and use it, and it has helped. But what we're finding also, and I think it's because of the strength of the fentanyl or the heroin, is it's taking more and more Narcan to bring people back. Would you agree, Mike?
Yeah, I've seen recent cases of multiple doses, either administered by the police department or the fire department. But I think I saw one case over the weekend where there was at least 6 doses administered to one person, and it took a while for them to revive them. So it's it's unbelievable how how they're such at the brink of death, and they're coming back, and and then you'll see the same person do it again. So it's so unfortunate.
Right. Yeah. And that's why we, with what you guys do, and it's great that you're able to get people in, but that's why we decided this year that, because we were seeing, and a lot of these overdoses, these numbers, these are repeat people. It's not like we have 100 and, like last year we had 100, I told you 159 overdoses. It wasn't like we had 159 different people. We had several of them were repeat overdoses, whether it was 2 or 3 or 4 times. So that's why, this year we decided that we would, because sometimes if somebody becomes addicted, is it true, their family kind of cuts them off because they're tired of dealing with them, or they can't feel they can help them?
Well, sometimes they need to. I mean,
Right.
They're tired of it. I mean, they steal from them, they lie to them, they manipulate them, and sometimes they figure by cutting them off, sooner or later that addict will get help.
Right.
And sometimes, like I said, where they overdose 2 to 3 times, and if me and Mike's visiting them, as a community, as a police department, we have to do something. Whether we section them, I think it's for their own good. We have to, or they're going to kill themselves. Right. A lot of them can't stop on their own once they're so far into addiction.
And I'll usually ask somebody, is the family still involved in your life? Because a lot, sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's getting close to the end where they're about, they've had enough. But I bumped into a young man last night who has a previous overdose, and I actually gave him Lenny's card and said, you need to call him, or we're going to come looking for you and probably get you into treatment ourselves. So he was a health insurance issue and things like that. And that's another issue. Some people don't have health insurance and think, I can't go into treatment because I don't have health insurance. But that's one thing they can work on. But I had a little chat with him and gave him Lenny's information, and he said he would reach out to him. So I'm hoping he will.
But even without health insurance, just treatment.
We'll still get them in. Pretty much if they overdose through this program, overdose prevention, we get them in without insurance. Doesn't really matter. Okay. A lot of them think it's a stumbling block. Well, I don't have insurance, I'm on the streets, I don't have nobody. We'll still get you in, and we'll work with that aspect once we get you in. I think the good thing is where I work with all the towns on the Cape, 14 of them, there's multiple overdoses in different towns. Like we'll have a lot of people from Falmouth that may be in Hyannis, and you may not know that they overdose because you don't have that information working with Hyannis or Yarmouth or Harwich or Orleans, where I'm in the loop. I find out where all the overdoses are on Cape, and we can section 35 somebody. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you overdose, and you have a loved one who overdoses off, lower down Cape, I'm going to know about it. And I'm going to bring it to that police department's attention that, hey, listen, maybe this individual needs a section 35. Yeah. Because a lot of it goes, unreported, or the police departments don't know, and there's a lot of unreported overdoses because everybody has Narcan. You know what I mean? So the numbers that you have now, it could be a lot higher because there's tons of overdoses in Falmouth that you don't know about because people carry Narcan, and also there's, they have Narcan parties. Yeah. So pretty much, they have a person who doesn't really get high, or he waits to get high, and he lets you guys shoot up first, and in case you overdose because of the heroin's too strong, he Narcans everybody, and that's what they call Narcan parties.
Yeah, we've heard of some of them, and some of it too is it seems like cocaine's making another trip back. Everything seems to run in circles and cycles, because I think we had interacted with someone who said that one of them was doing heroin, the other one was doing cocaine, just for that reason, so that if that person on the heroin overdosed, he could give them, and then they would switch later. So yeah, it's amazing, and they're all chasing that high, correct?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them, like I said, they don't want to feel no more. Right. A lot of these people have depression issues, substance issues, homelessness. There's just a lot of things that addicts, as an addict, I'm in recovery myself, and I used for all the wrong reasons. It's just because my life was in shambles. I was upside down. Didn't really have anywhere to go. Wasn't working. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to feel the pain. So I mean, I used just to forget.
Yeah. And a lot of services back when you were in trouble, these services weren't available to you, right? No,
there wasn't. Most of the times when I was active, I've been clean 9 years now.
Congratulations.
And I've pretty much been on the streets as far as doing the wrong thing for 20-something years, and the resources weren't there. My opportunity to get clean was in jail. Right. I became institutionalized. I strive in structured programs, whether it was jails, institutions, halfway houses, psych wards. You know what I mean? Anything that could stop me from being in my own head. I didn't have those resources. Right. So I think today, being out in the community, talking to people coming from where I came from, a lot of them will open up to me because they know I've been there. And like Mike says, we have a lot of people who overdose in the Falmouth community, where I'm a Falmouth resident. I've been born and raised here. I'm no different from anybody else. I don't have all the answers, but I do know a lot of people. And a lot of times when they do overdose, and Mike can't find them, I can find them. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And once I do reach out to them, a lot of them will take treatment. It may not be that same day, but within a week, I can find them, and we'll get them into treatment.
And it's right. It's that trust issue. They have to trust you first.
Yeah.
and that is good that, you know, you're able to do that and to have that partnership. And like we say, you know, Michael goes with you as a police officer, but we're in plain clothes, we're in plain unmarked cars, so, you know, the neighbors don't know the police are at somebody's house per se, and we're not there to embarrass anybody, and we're not there to arrest. You know, we consider them a victim at that point, and they need help. So that's why we're.
No, I think we do a good job of bringing people's anxiety level down and relating to them. I think we do a pretty good job at it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've never been turned away. We've never been treated, you know, angrily or, you know, people being upset at us for being there. A lot of people in the beginning, I mean, our kind of program's catching on. People have heard of us now. But in the beginning, people were shocked that we were there offering them help.
Right.
Strangers were knocking on the door, offering them help. They were blown away by it, like some almost to tears, and it was pretty neat to see that happening. And you know, we let them. And so, you know, I've been approached, and other officers on patrol have been approached. People are aware of us and say, hey, can you know, give my name? And people, you know, patrol officers have given me names of people to reach out to. So it is working. The word is spreading.
Yeah, because I mean, some of the phone calls or emails that we got before is, you know, why don't we allow people to come in and, you know, turn in their drugs and us get them some help? Well, I mean, I've been doing this for 38 years, and, you know, Michael's been around for a while, and we just don't. If somebody walks into the police station, we'll give them help. Absolutely, we'll give them help. But we just don't have, it's the community itself, the Falmouth community, we don't have people coming into the police station asking for help. Yeah. It just doesn't happen. Not to say it wouldn't, and if they did, we absolutely would get them help. I mean, we have people that we PC on alcohol that ask for help. We get them help every day. But it just seems like with the opioids, we don't have that type of client coming in.
I think it's because we have a detox here in Falmouth.
Yeah.
So they're not going to reach out to the police department when they can just go 3 miles down the street and try to get into detox themselves.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, where we have the detox, it's a good community because they know where the resources are at. Yeah. You know what I mean? And with Mike, you know, we go out and if we have somebody, we visit an overdose person and we offer them treatment. Sometimes there's other individuals that may be at that house that may be using, and they didn't per se overdose. But if they reach out to me and Mike, you know, we can get them treatment. Yeah. You know, we're not waiting for you to overdose to die or to be eligible to get treatment. You know, I always say, if you reach out to me or Mike, you know, we'll work with you. You know what I mean? If you want help, you know, we don't want to catch you when you overdose. Right. I mean, that's what we do. We're an overdose prevention program, but you know, we want people. I want to save everybody. Trust me. You know, I think I can save everybody.
I can, you know, give Lane some, you know, an at-risk person who maybe hasn't overdosed yet, but is in need of help. And he can intervene and get them help. So
and you're right. We don't want to get that phone call where they're down and out and they need to be Narcan brought back. We want to get to them before if we can. So that's awesome. And it's also got to be relief for the families too. That I'm sure some of these people live at home still, and like we talked about before, you know, the families are just at wit's end. They don't know what else to do. So I'm sure, you know, it's made some families happy too.
I mean, pure exhaustion on people's faces. It's or just at the end of the rope, and when they, you know, see a couple people, you know, they get a little hope, and you know, there's family support groups that, you know, Lenny can recommend them to, and other resources, and but they just, a lot of them don't want their loved one to be on the street, so they keep them at home.
They let them use there at the house. Sometimes they feel like, you know, if they keep eyes on their loved ones and they allow them to use in the house, they're more safe than being out on the street and overdosing and nobody being there. Right. So it's like a catch-22. Like, you know, when do you discontinue that relationship with your child or your loved one and say, listen, enough is enough. You know what I mean? You need to get treatment or you can't stay here. You know, a lot of parents will allow their loved ones to use in the house and then they overdose and die in the house. It's like, you know, so where do you make that disconnection? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because as Michael knows, and as you know, because we communicate all the time, we get calls all the time to houses. And it's just that reason, you know, they find him in the bathroom or find him in the bedroom and things like that.
The exact words out of one mother's mouth, I'd rather him die in the house than die on the street. Yeah. About her son. That was word for word, right out of her mouth.
Shame. And like you were saying too, I mean, where Narcan is available to the general public too. So they figure if at least they're at home and something happens, they can bring them back.
You know, from working from Falmouth down to, you know, Little Cape, it's just a lot of parents do carry the Narcan, and it's a shame because I meet family members and mothers and fathers, and they have to Narcan their kid 3-4 times, and they're performing CPR on them, It's like, I just don't know how these families can do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you're out there and you need help, get treatment, reach out to the Falmouth Police, Mike, me. You're more than welcome to call Gosnold. Can't get in, I always say call any detox. Because, I mean, can't give up. If I'd given up, I was in active addiction for 12 years. If I turned the other cheek and said, you know what, I can't do this. Each time I had a mustard seed of hope. I didn't know if I'd stay clean, but, each time I came out and I tried and I tried. And, here I sit, 9 years clean, working for the facility I've been to 3 times.
Right.
I've been in Gosnold 3 times as a patient.
Yeah.
Here I am working for the facility that I was once in. But, like, I never really gave up. And the resources that they have today is amazing for the Falmouth area, because I didn't have this when I was active. You know what I mean? And somebody knocked on my door and said, listen, I can get you into treatment. I'll do most of the work. We just need you to be willing. And you showed that you cared about me. Most of the part when I was in active addiction, I was pretty much suicidal, homicidal, and I was at the end of my wits. Nobody really cared about me. Pretty much my family didn't want nothing to do with me. I pretty much burnt every bridge. If I had a representative who came with a plainclothes officer and showed some kind of hope and wanted to help me, for what reason, I don't know why you would want to help me, but you did.
Right.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I probably would have went to treatment way longer.
Long time before you did.
Before
right?
I did, yeah. Luckily, I made it through the cracks, and and I survived it. And when I go with Mike, I really want to save everybody. You know what I mean? I want to offer treatment. If I can't, get you in a detox, I'll try to work on you. Like Mike says, if you don't take treatment today, hopefully, I'll get a call from you from a week from now, 2 weeks from now. I've had people reach out to me a month and a half later. They say, listen, I still got your card. And I'd say, hold this card because you're going to need it one day. You know what I mean? Yeah. I hope for you to get into treatment a little sooner than what you're willing. You know what I mean? We don't want you, like I said, I don't need you to go out there and experiment, another 2-3 years, because you may not have that.
Right.
Where the heroin is so strong, they're dropping like flies.
Right. No, absolutely.
It's an epidemic where they don't realize once they shoot it in their arm, and if it's a bad batch.
Yeah. And there may be nobody around to narc them.
And that's the part. Most of the people that I've talked in the streets, a lot of them use in pairs. Yeah. Nobody really uses alone anymore because the heroin's so strong, it's too dangerous.
Just for that reason.
And there could be somebody in the next room, but by the time they put in their arm and they're out, it's too late.
Yeah.
They can't call for help. They can't.
I mean, like I said, so far, last year at the same time, we keep track of all the statistics and everything else. And this time last year, we had 20 overdoses. This time this year, we have 36. Last year, we had 1 death. We're up to 4 deaths this year. So the numbers seem a little stronger already this year. And people have asked me, well, how come Falmouth, the numbers are so high? And I've kind of said the same thing. We are a recovery community, and it doesn't always work the first time. As you said, you were in Gosnold 3 times?
3 times myself, yeah.
So it takes multiple times to get the treatment that you need.
And it's tough since we are a recovery community. People are coming from all around. So afterwards, we're trying to track these people. A lot of times we are unsuccessful tracking people down because they have these, whether they're from Central Mass or Western Mass, or we just don't have, the wherewithal to track them down. So we do make the best effort to track down every single person that overdosed. And if we can find them, they're offered help. But a lot of times, a lot of people are unable to be located.
And you hit a pretty good point there a few minutes ago too, Lenny, is that you partner with all these different police departments on Cape and off Cape, so you do see Falmouth people down in Yarmouth or off Cape or wherever like that too. So and
they do.
Yeah, people do travel.
Yeah, and I've had 5 to 8 people overdose off Cape, Plymouth areas, Kingston, Pembroke, different areas that I can trace them back to the Falmouth area.
Right.
And we'll actually go and search on behalf of other police departments for people that have overdosed,
And what I try to do is if somebody overdoses in Falmouth, and now where I'm working with so many different police departments, and if we have somebody overdose in the Falmouth area and they're from Yarmouth or Hyannis or Barnstable or Mashpee, where Mike will give me that information, I actually work with those police departments. Now, if I can't find them in the Falmouth area, I'll take their last known address and I'll seek them out in their town, in that area. So I don't like to leave any overdose not accounted for. Somehow, if I can find them or go to their town, I'd like to offer them treatment, whether, we find them here. Yeah. It just doesn't go down.
Because that's the other thing too, is they could be out searching for a supply somewhere where, if they can't find it in Falmouth, they'll go somewhere else to wherever they can and then shoot up at that point. And so that's why you might have somebody in another, somebody from this area somewhere
different
else
town,
because
yeah.
they're out looking for a supply. So yeah, it really is, it's tragic. But it's really, really great to see that we do have resources to save lives and to have people like yourself who are willing to do that. I mean, that's a big commitment on your part. I mean, and it is important. And I know Mike has worked with others from Gosnell, and everybody's been there and they've lived it, and that's what's important, because they may not believe us and things like that, but you are believable, and because you've been there.
I've been there, and I've lived here my whole life. I mean, like I said, being here and living here and been on both sides of the tracks, I don't like to say it's street credibility, but, I've been it.
Yeah.
And then when they see I've gotten the help,
Right.
and their lives, a lot of them know me from the street. Right. So they're like, when I come to them and I'm in recovery, they know, like, I'm for real.
Right.
Like, if I'm offering treatment or if I'm talking about something, I have some history.
It's a great role model. That if you could do it,
yeah,
perhaps they can do it.
Like I said, I've taken from the community for many years. I've poisoned the community for many years in Falmouth. If I can give back and make a difference in my hometown, then so be it.
You've definitely done it,
So.
and I know you got a lot more work ahead of you too. So,
Definitely.
because if we just look at the numbers, they're going up, and it's a good program, and we'll definitely keep this program together. And we couldn't, like I said before, we can't. The police department can't do it alone. We look for the community's help all in all. And Gosnell is a great resource to have. We're fortunate to have Gosnell here in Falmouth and anything like that. I really appreciate having both of you here today. Is there anything else you want to let the community know, either one of you? Or
Just like to say we're always available. Sergeant Simino, Lenny Cardoza. You can reach me at the police department via email. It's on our website, or call the dispatch and leave a voicemail for me. Again, available anytime if you have a loved one that needs help.
yeah, great. And you guys keep up the great work, and the police department's still going to be committed for as long as it's going to take to solve this problem. And I do believe at some point we can bring those numbers the opposite direction.
Definitely.
With the commitment from everybody. So again, thank you both for what you do, and I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope this has been very informative to the community. And as you heard here today, if you or a loved one needs some help, please reach out to us, the police department or Gosnell directly, or any other services that are out there. And if you go to our website, we have a bunch of different links, or you go to Gosnell's website, there are links for services that are available. So again, I want to thank everybody for being here on the show today, and I wish the community well. And as I've always said before, if you see it or hear it, please report it. Thank you.